Hi everybody, and welcome to this DVD on how to prepare sushi. My name is Antoinette and I'm going to be your chef today. I'm the owner and head chef of Antoinette's Cookery School, a social cookery school focusing on having fun while teaching you to prepare good food. In this series of DVDs, we are going to show you how to prepare and make exquisite sushi at home with minimal effort. We will show you step by step how to prepare sushi rice, maki rolls, inside-out rolls, scattered sushi, and even get the kids involved to make their own sushi. So if you're ready, let's start making amazing sushi. So sushi, as we know today, started up as a way of preserving fish, where they will have rice and layers of fish, and this will stay like that for 1 year to ferment totally. At the end of the day, this will be a really acquired taste. You will still find this today in Japan all over, and it will have the taste of more or less like very mature camembert cheese and some Thai fish sauce. Not that yummy. Then this basically changed with times, with the more production of rice. But these days we can find now this lovely rice vinegar mixture, which makes it so much faster. So we don't have to wait this week of process where rice will have to turn into lactic acid. We can make it nice and fast, and in a few hours we can have beautiful, brilliant sushi rice where we can make all these lovely morsels that we can enjoy today as well. Sushi is not even just good for us, it's actually delicious and it's really healthy. It's one of the most healthiest fast foods in the world. So really brilliant if you're addicted to sushi. We're going to start with a few ingredients that I want to show you what you're going to use today in making your own sushi. First thing that I want to show you is some lovely fresh fish. Obviously, we started with the raw fish. We've got some lovely salmon that we're going to use and some tuna. Tuna is very good for you exactly because of the omega-3 and the fatty acids that's obviously in them. It is very good for us all. And then we're also going to use some smoked salmon and some smoked trout, which is really lovely. I'm going to first show you some lovely sushi rolls that we're going to incorporate those dishes into. Then another ingredient obviously that makes up sushi and that we all know of is sushi rice. We use only short grain sushi rice. Please do not try to compromise with something else. Even if you are addicted and you want some sushi, don't use basmati, it doesn't work. Try to use sushi rice, it's quite starchy. So you have to rinse it. I'll show you guys later how we're going to rinse it and really clear it out, and then we're going to use it up by actually adding our vinegar mixture, which I do make myself. You do get in the market sometimes there's already made up mixture, but I do prefer to make up my own little mixture with my caster sugar and my salt and everything. Then another lovely product that we all know of, and which is a really good digestive system, is of course the ginger. Now, preserved ginger, we all see in a little side accompaniment when we receive our sushi, when we're in the restaurant. Really lovely stuff. It is, in fact, an accompaniment, please, not a side salad, although any sushi chef will replenish it for you anytime. Very good for us, very lovely and nice and refreshing. You actually eat it as a palate cleanser, so only one piece at a time. Nummies. Then after that we also get some, of course, soya sauce. Now Japanese cooking won't be Japanese cooking if you don't use soya sauce. Again, with sushi, it's only there to just dip your sushi into it. Please do not drench it, don't drown it. It's only there for just a small dip of flavoring. If you're going to overdo your soya, it's not going to be nice. Soya is again very good for us. You get some sodium-free soya also these days on the market, and at this moment I would actually say that the sodium-free one is a bit better for us. It's made out of fermented soya beans and a bit of wheat, so if you are wheat intolerant, try to get another one, the tamarind, that actually is not wheat, it's wheat-free. Then we're also going to use some sesame seeds. I love using sesame seeds on my sushi. It gives it a nice nutty flavor. If you sesame seeds want to get a bit more flavor, we just quickly toast them in a dry pan. Nice, lovely flavor. Then the best of all, and I think that everyone is also addicted to, is the wasabi. Now you buy wasabi powder all over. Wasabi, actually also known as namadi, which means steers, and it's also that lovely pungent horseradish, Japanese horseradish. You will not really get it, except in Japan, of course. You won't really get fresh horseradish. We buy it in the powder form or in the tube form. The powder form, you make equal amounts of powder and water, mix it together, and then you can make some lovely leaves, which I will show you later, and all those things. And then the tube one, which is really lovely, you keep it in your fridge, use it when you're addicted, just scoop it out when you're making your little thingies, your little sushi rolls. And another thing I want to just, wasabi is not a proof of bravery. Please do not try to overdo it. Again, I've seen people sitting in restaurants and trying to dissolve a whole amount of wasabi into their soya. It's really there as just a flavoring enhancer, and just actually to bring out again that lovely tinkling when you're having your sashimi. Please do not overdo it. And any sushi chef, and we're going to show you that also today, will actually add more wasabi to your roll than what you would rather actually dissolve it into your soya. So this is a nice way actually just to get that whole nice feeling of that. Then also another ingredient that we're going to use, which gives that brilliant creamy flavor of our sushi, is just some lovely mayonnaise, which we will incorporate a bit later. So how to make your own sushi rice at home is dead easy and really not that difficult that everyone is scared of to do themselves. What we've got here already in a strainer is 375 ml of rice, or 1.5 cup. And then also in the saucepan, we already added 500 ml, or basically 2 cups of water. And then over here, we've got 60 ml, or a 1/4 cup of rice vinegar, 30 ml or 2 tablespoons of caster sugar, and then 5 ml or 1 teaspoon of salt. Now what we're going to do, and this is the most important part of making sushi, we're going to wash the rice. Very important, we have to remove the starchiness of the rice, otherwise it's just going to be one glunk of rice catching together. So what we have here is a clean bowl with just clean tap water, and we're just going to put the rice in here and just give it a really good nice wash. You immediately will note that the water gets all milky because of all the starchiness that we just rinse out of there. You just keep this moving around because you really want to remove this. Lovely. So now I'm going to do it for the second time. Another clean bowl again. And I'm just removing this one over there. And I just keep this going. This whole procedure of rinsing, I'm going to repeat 5 times. You have to repeat it 5 times. If you're only going to do it a few times, it's not going to work. So this is now the second time, and we're going to keep this going up to number 5. Lovely. So after I've done number 5, I've got the rice over here. And after the 5th wash, I'm going to let this lovely sushi rice just soak for 15 minutes again in clean water. You need to let it soak that it can absorb a bit of that water. After 15 minutes, I'm going to just again strain this through my sieve and just leave it to stand for another 15 minutes. Over the clean bowl, get rid of all that water, and then only after 15 minutes we're going to incorporate that and include that into our 500 ml of water in the saucepan. So the rice has been standing now for 15 minutes, and we are going to incorporate this now into our saucepan. Empty that all in there. And what you want to do now is switch on your stovetop, and we're going to cover this, very important, cover it, and you want to bring this water now to the boil. The moment it's boiling, we're going to turn the heat down to a simmer and leave it there for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, you're going to turn the heat off, and then we're going to just leave it to stand again, still with the lid on, for another 10 minutes. While that is steaming, we're going to start making our lovely vinegar mixture. So we're going to incorporate our vinegar, our caster sugar, as well as our salt. And then we're going to just bring this again up to a light simmer. You don't really want to boil this rapidly. And just bring it all together. And then our sushi rice, we're going to empty it into a container to cool down, which I will show you just now. So we're just going to finish our rice now. We've got our lovely rice. It's steamed now for 10 minutes without any heat. And we've got our rice vinegar mixture here that we just boiled up. So we're just going to add our rice vinegar mixture to our steamed. Make sure you get all that vinegar out of there. And we're just going to loosen this up lightly with a fork, just to make sure that that mixture runs through to the bottom. And then we're just going to pour this into a glass bowl. Please do not feel tempted to leave this to cool down in a stainless steel container. Traditionally, they would actually use like a wooden bowl or something like that, because you don't want anything to make the rice taste like something funny. So we just put it in the glass bowl and leave it there to cool down. Now you can leave this to fan, or you can just put a cloth over it, and once in a while just come past with your fork and just loosen it up to make sure that it's nice and room temperature so that we can use it. Also, please never ever feel tempted to put your sushi rice in a fridge. It's going to go all dry and very clamp. That's why I always suggest that we don't use or buy sushi that is in a fridge, because it ruins the perfectness of your rice. So you actually just use it like this at room temperature. I'm going to quickly show you how to make a lovely thick omelette. Now, all over in sushi cooking, we use this quite a bit, especially with sushi connoisseurs. Will tell you that they will always start up their dish or their whole process of eating with some lovely omelette, where they will put this on a hand roll, and they will actually taste the vinegar mixture of the sushi chef to determine whether it's going to be a good experience or not. Now, to make your own sushi omelette is dead easy, and it actually makes the versatility of all your ingredients that you can add to your sushi so much wider. So what we have here is just 3 eggs that we're just going to lightly beaten up, just loosen it up. And then we're just going to incorporate here about 30 mils of water only. They would actually sometimes use dashi stock, but water is just fine for our everyday use, but all of us don't have time to make dashi stock. And then we have 15 mils of caster sugar, or tablespoon of caster sugar. Just whisk that up until it's nice and loosened. And then 2.5 mils of salt. And this is our lovely mixture that we're going to use for our omelette. And over here, we've got a rectangular frying pan. You can get this at any, again, little shop, really nothing fancy. And I'm just going to add a bit of oil to the bottom, not too much. And we're just going to heaten this up again. Lovely. Now, this is really not difficult, but it does take a bit of practice. If you do not have the rectangular frying pans, you can use a round one. Only suggestion that I have is after you've rolled it up, just cut off the edges, but you do have the nice straight ones like we're going to make today. So I want to show you. So just remove more or less all of the oil. You don't want it too oily. You can keep that just to wipe it again as we're making the different layers. So what's this going to be? It's going to be these layers that we roll up into a little sausage, and about 3 times until we have this nice big plump of egg. So I'm going to add my first layer. And we're just going to cook this all over. And the moment it starts to set on the bottom, and especially on the sides, we're going to start rolling it up. Now, a proper sushi chef would actually use some chopsticks. I'm not that trained, so we're going to do it just with an ordinary spatula. You guys can see that it's starting to set along the sides. Just turning up the heat, but be in control the whole time of your heat. It might tend to burn, and then you're not going to have a pretty omelette. Okay, so you want the egg to set, but you're going to still have the gooey and gunkiness of the egg on the inside as you rolled it. So it's not going to be like really rock hard.
Now you can see that it's more or less set along the sides. I'm just going to put up the heat again just a small bit. Keep in control of your heat. You don't want it to go too dark. And then we're going to start moving it from the side to make sure that we can start rolling it. What we're going to do is we're going to just bring that over. And you're going to keep this moving into thirds. Until it's the whole pan full. Just going to remove this bit. Lovely. And now I'm just going to squash it to the other side of the pan, just carefully, just to make sure that it's easier to roll over again when I fill up the pan again. Don't overhandle it. There we go. Again, just a bit of oil. And I'm going to again pour some egg in. So this is now important that you also just lift this part of the egg omelette so that that egg can run underneath it. I'm going to put up the heat again. What I love about this also, it's nice and sweet. So it's a really lovely aftertaste that this egg omelette will give you. Almost there again. Again, you just want to loosen it along the sides. Side quickly so that we can turn it over easily again. So our omelette is nice and set now. We're going to do the whole process again by just turning it around, making sure that it's the whole pan full. Lovely. So we're going to leave this now to cool. And then after a while, I'm just going to come back and just slice it up into nice slices. And then we're going to have this lovely egg omelette that we can incorporate into our scatter sushi. So to make your sushi nice and beautiful and presentable, we always want to make just a bit of a finishing touch. And we know how gorgeous the Japanese can make their sushi look. Now, it's not possible for me to make any other carving, but I can show you a few shortcuts just to make your sushi platter look utmost beautiful. First thing I want to show you is just simple, plain simple carrot that we slice thin as possible, and we just cut it with a small cookie cutter into little flowers, and it will really just zhoosh up an ordinary platter. And then the second thing I want to show you is just some lovely cucumber that we just sliced up as thin as possible. And how we basically did this is just cut your cucumber into thin slices, remove the first part, and then you just basically just stop before you reach the pith, because you don't want that sogginess of the pith, and you just keep on slicing it, and you've got beautiful cucumber that you can use in your rolls or just as a garnish along the sides, which is really nice and presentable. And then we've got these, oh, they're gorgeous, I love them. They are the cucumber pine leaves, which is really just something that to zhoosh it up. And what we're going to use again, the other half of the cucumber, and we're just going to remove the two sides of our cucumber again. And now we're just going to take our cucumber and just stop at the top. So you're going to make thin incisions in your cucumber, basically up to halfway. Slice it through, and now what we're going to do is just tuck each little leaf in. It's very easy to do, nothing funny done is about it, and it's going to make your platter just stand out from the rest. There you go, very easy. Add on to that one. And then another thing that I would just want to show you, now this is quite time consuming. So what you do is you take your whole cucumber and you have this cutting motion where you get in between the skin of the cucumber and then basically with your knife, and you just remove like a thin layer of the cucumber till you got this whole sheet of cucumber rolled up like this. This is really pretty, and we use it in our hand rolls, in anything, and you basically can just slice it up as thin as possible, and again it looks beautiful on your platters and in your rolls even, just to zhoosh it up there. Now the next one that I want to show you is how to make a wasabi leaf. Now wasabi leaves are dead easy again to make, but again it's not really time consuming. So we're going to have our wasabi powder here, and I'm just going to add about 2 teaspoons of wasabi powder, and then the same amount of liquid water. I'm just going to mix this up. You guys can see that it's quite still runny. I'm just going to add a bit more powder to this one, and just keep it moving. You want to get rid of any lumps. I don't think it will be nice to enjoy your wasabi with a lump in. Just a bit more. And now when it's like this, it's nice and movable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove all of this paste. And as I said, wasabi is really a beautiful just hint of goodness, and you don't want to overdo it. Don't kill yourself or show everyone that you're the bravest one around the table. So the only thing that we're going to do now, I'm just going to shape it a bit in my hand. I'm going to put it on my chopping board and just keep on shaping. There we go. And then I'm basically just going to make a nice incision over there. And there you go, wasabi leaf. So in our sushi, we're going to use obviously some lovely fresh fish. Over here we've got some yellowfin tuna, which is brilliant. This is the belly part, that's why it's so beautiful and dark. And the pieces that we've cut here is perfect to use for pressed sushi. And then we've got some lovely sashimi pieces here. And then this I will use in my rolls, nice thick pencil sliced pieces. Now just to cut them is dead easy. You basically can just slice yourself a piece over there to make that lovely thin pieces. I wouldn't actually have the angle motion, I will just have nice thin slices from there. This is what I'm going to use for either my hand rolls or for my pressed sushi. Now I want to show you quickly with our lovely Scottish salmon. Now we only use Scottish salmon for sushi. Main reason for that is the Norwegian, it's a bit more pale in color, where the Scottish salmon is beautiful bright pink. So what I'm going to do here is just cut off a piece that I can just show you. What we're going to do here is keep it on an angle, put your hand there, and again just slice underneath your hand. And this is beautiful slices again for my pressed sushi. And if I go just a bit thicker, then this would be beautiful again for some hand rolls, which I'm just going to shape again for after that. And then if you've got these pieces over here, you want to keep them all more or less the same, pencil slice thickness again. And this is what I'm going to use again in my rolls too at the end, which is going to really look beautiful. Now over here, I want to quickly just show you our prawns. Now this might look to you like very funny prawns. Now what we've done is I've taken this basic simple prawns and I've pricked it with a kebab stick down where its little legs are, and this is just to make sure that your prawns actually keep its shape, that is nice and straight. Otherwise the moment you're going to cook, it's going to curl up in a little spiral, which you don't want. So what we're going to do now is just remove its head by just pulling it off, and then you're basically just going to remove all this skins or shells, and this is where you can, so we just put this with the little kebab stick into boiling water, 2 minutes at most. Don't overcook it, otherwise the prawns will go very dry and gooey, and you don't want that. So just quick, light, fast cooking, and just get that tentacle away from there, and just slice it in half. When you slice it in half, you have to still remove the vein, which is really quite gross. You don't want to serve it like that. You can use a damp cloth and just wipe it out again, or just rinse it under cold running water again. What you either can do also is remove it before you start cooking, which is also a good idea. I want to just show you what I've done with these ones. Is I've exactly did the same thing, and I just quickly cut the prawns straight through, and I removed the vein from the inside. So this is beautiful prawns that we're going to use in our nigiri rolls, which is going to look very pretty. Now over here we've just got ordinary crab sticks that I also just quickly blanched, which means that I just put it in boiling water, very fast, or cold water. Don't want them to fall apart. And then we also got our lovely egg omelette, which I shown previously. There we go.